right now on 5 on your side at 10.
We started off in the mid-40s, in some cases mid-30s, depending on where you are this morning. Pretty close to normal, but we're going to be anything but normal the next few days. How warm it gets and how long we can hold on to that to finish the month of October.
Polling sites across Missouri have seen long lines as voters cast their ballots early. The record-setting turnout just in St. Louis County. But first tonight, a bridal battle. Months after saying yes to the dress, local brides now saying I don't. The added stress they're dealing with just days before walking down the aisle.
And either refund the money or, don't keep making excuses and stop lying.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Robert Townsend. A bridal shop with locations in Chesterfield and Wentzville under fire tonight from customers saying it's not fulfilling their orders. New tonight, Annie Krall reports on lengths that the mothers of the brides are going to make their daughter's big day still special.
In May, Kim Matrisi went to Signature Bridal to pick out a dress for her daughter Kelsey. At the time, the November 16th ceremony was 6 months away. But come August, after paying extra for a rushed order, still nothing.
We start calling, we're getting kind of the runaround, we're either not getting a response or we're just getting told it's being shipped.
By September, no $3,500 custom dress. So 2 weeks ago, Matrisi flew to Michigan where her daughter lives.
So we spent an entire weekend traveling all over Michigan and going to different bridal shops, hoping we could find something off the rack just in case.
But it was only after the threat of suing Signature Bridal in Chesterfield that the dress for Matrisi's daughter did finally arrive. The family tells me it was such a gift to receive after weeks of anxiety and uncertainty. Hundreds of comments online voicing similar concerns. Signature Bridal posting on Friday saying, quote, "We have mutually decided to discontinue our partnership with Stella York and Essence of Australia, two designers that customers have named as not arriving in time."
It's not about the designers, it's about the business owner.
Chesterfield police even stepping in. Officers were called to the store on October 2nd because of a disturbance caused by a, quote, irate customer because a dress wasn't completed. Something similar to what Lori Mills experienced with her oldest daughter, Caitlin, 10 months before her October 5th wedding. But by late August, the Essence of Australia dress was ordered in a size too small.
One, it still wasn't the right size. And I opened it up to look, and strangely, the sizing tag had been cut out entirely. But then as I started to look closer at the dress, and Caitlin and I started to look at it, it was filthy. It had makeup stains on it. The underarms were actually pitted out. There were dark kind of marks and stains on it.
So Mills called more than 50 bridal shops within a 1,000-mile radius of St. Louis, finding the same dress in the correct size an hour outside of Chicago, only 3 days before her wedding. Mills getting an $1,800 refund.
And we did, by luck and God or whatever, actually found a dress that my daughter had chosen, and she was able to have it on her wedding day. But if we hadn't have been that level of assertive, I'm not exactly sure what would have happened.
Annie Krall, 5 on your side.
Now, we reached out to Signature Bridal store owners who said they've heard the complaints and are hoping to give refunds as needed. These mothers, however, hope there is accountability from the owners and that it's the end of the line for the store's continued excuses. New information in yesterday's deadly shooting in Florissant. Investigators say 2 men and a teen male met in the Florissant Marketplace parking lot around 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon to engage in unlawful activity. At some point, an attempted robbery took place and an adult male was shot and killed. Police arrested the other man in juvenile. Right now, prosecutors have not filed charges in this case. Developing tonight, a teen is dead after they were shot in Jennings. St. Louis County police officers responding to a crash on Dawson Place near Jennings Station Road just after 6 o'clock tonight. Now, the male victim was located inside the car with a life-threatening gunshot wound. He died at the hospital. Right now, police do not have any suspect information. Also developing, St. Louis police investigating a deadly hit and run in North City. It happened about 2 hours ago on Goodfellow Place near Goodfellow Boulevard. Police say the suspect vehicle hit a pedestrian and took off. Tonight, accident reconstruction investigators have not given us any more information. They have, however, been called in. Hours ago, family and friends gathered to remember a man who died in a hit and run last week. A balloon release was held this afternoon for 46-year-old Jerome McDaniels on October 14th. He was returning to his North St. Louis home around 2 in the morning. Now, as he tried to cross the intersection of Lee and Prairie Avenues, he was hit by a car that drove off. Yesterday, I spoke with McDaniel's sister who shared this message for that driver.
Where's the heart, where's the compassion or whatever? And then a lot of people, I know they got that motto, snitching. No, it's not snitching, it's doing the right thing. When you do wrong or whatever, you should be able to suffer the consequences. And then it probably wouldn't even be this bad had you stopped and tried to render help.
Anyone with information is asked to call St. Louis Police or Crime Stoppers at 866-371-TIPS. New at 10, a gas station fire is quickly put out in Eureka. The Eureka Fire Department says an RV parked at the Quick Trip off Highway 109 caught fire just before 5 today. The fire also spread into the canopy above the pumps, but crews were able to put it out. The damage was limited to the area around the pump. No word on any injuries tonight. No excuse absentee voting in St. Louis County has proved popular in its first week. The St. Louis County Board of Elections says more than 86,000 voters have already cast their ballots in person, surpassing the November 22 election. You can vote at one of 14 satellite voting locations throughout the county. Election officials encourage all eligible voters to consider voting before November 5th.
The more people that vote early, according to what the law is now, the less stress there is on election day. And for voters, it's important that if they can vote early, to do so, because you never know what might happen on election day. But from our standpoint, it just reduces the stress and anxiety on election day.
No excuse absentee voting continues next week. Polls are open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. until 4:30, Saturday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., and then Monday, November 4th, from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Hours ago, area doctors went door to door in West St. Louis County, encouraging voters to say yes to reproductive rights and health care. Amendment 3 would overturn Missouri's abortion ban. Groups like Missouri Right to Life argue the amendment is too extreme, but these physicians want people to understand what's at stake come November 5th.
There are too many nuances in medicine for politicians with no medical training to enact broad restrictions to healthcare access. This is not safe for our patients.
Next week, anti-abortion advocates will kick off a battleground state tour right here in St. Louis. Now, in order to pass, Amendment 3 would need to get a majority of the votes in the election. For more information about what's on the November ballot, check out our voter guide on KSDK.com or just text the word guide to 314-425-5355 and we will send you a link. Coming up, it's countdown to that big spooky day. We'll take you to a cool costume party already in full swing. Concerns are taking off after a Boeing strike continues, why some aviation experts say it could lead to more problems.
Some of our wind speeds today gusting over 20 miles an hour. While that's not all that significant, this will be more like sustained winds that we deal with later in the week. When that is and how high we can expect the gusts to be later on as well.
Spooky season isn't all tricks and treats. Many celebrate by remembering loved ones who have moved on. Today, the city of Clayton celebrated Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dad. The event featured decorated altars or ofrendas for attendees to remember their loved ones and pets. Now, organizers say it's a great way to celebrate Hispanic heritage here in St. Louis.
Representing my culture is one of the best parts in St. Louis because there's not many people from Panama here. I feel like it's really fun to be around in this costume and be different from everyone else.
Day of the Dad is typically celebrated on November 1st and 2nd. Today's event featured live music and traditional dancing, arts and crafts, lots of food, vendors, and much more. And over in the Central West End, check out this full-blown Halloween party. Festivities kicked off with fun daytime activities for the whole family, including a children's costume parade, trick-or-treating, and pumpkin decorating. Now, the adult street party kicked off about 4 hours ago with an adult costume contest and performances. We caught up with the famous TV family out celebrating the early holiday.
We feel like celebrities today. I've been in about 30 pictures so far. Yeah, it's been good. Everybody down here, there's so much diversity, young, old. It's just a cool atmosphere.
Love those Simpsons costumes. Well, Gary, lots of kids are looking forward to Halloween night. The big question is, what kind of weather should those trick-or-treaters expect?
Well, right now we're trending in the right direction here as temps in the mid-60s by lunchtime. But as things clear out, it looks like it's going to be dry by that time. But that's obviously, there's a big change in between then. How that gets there and how windy it's going to be as well.
Developing tonight, tensions in the Middle East escalating after Israel launched its own strikes against Iran last night. The attack was in retaliation to Iran's own strikes earlier this month. Reed Binion reports world leaders have urged both sides to avoid a wider regional war.
Right now, the Israel Defense Forces is conducting precise strikes on military targets in Iran.
Israel's military launching a retaliatory attack on Iran early Saturday.
The regime in Iran and its proxies in the region have been relentlessly attacking Israel since October 7th on 7 fronts, including direct attacks from Iranian soil.
This latest attack, a response to Iran's direct large-scale missile assault on Israel earlier this month. An Israeli military source said Saturday's strike hit military targets, which did not include energy infrastructure. Iran's state-run media reported several Iranian military service members were killed. In what one expert said may be a face-saving move, Iran appeared to downplay the extent of the Israeli strike, reporting limited damage at military sites. President Biden expressed hope the Israeli strikes on Iran will mark the end of a period of escalation in the Middle East.
It looks like they didn't hit anything other than military targets. My hope is this is the end.
Biden administration officials have said the U.S. was not directly involved with the strike, but had been consulting closely with Israel. Reed Binion, 5 on your side.
Now the Middle East is bracing to see if Iran will continue to escalate this conflict. Iran says it's entitled to defend itself and says the strikes broke international law. Tonight, the aviation industry is sharing its concerns about the ongoing Boeing strike. Earlier this week, union workers rejected a new contract deal. Experts say several airlines were already waiting for deliveries of new Boeing airplanes before the strike started. Now, some may have to use aging aircraft longer than the companies had originally planned for.
There is concern in terms of how long the strike will continue. There's concern about will Boeing be able to ramp back up with the quality that is required?
Most of the orders for new Boeing planes are from airlines that are expanding to meet passenger demand. Delta recently ordered 100 Boeing 737s, which were scheduled to be delivered sometime next year.
These kids play from elementary school, middle school, and they compete when they get to high school.
High school, dozens of students battled on the chessboard. Today was the Gateway Chess League's regional student chess tournament. The league says tournaments like this are a great way for kids to make new friends while sharpening their minds.
We want to help our kids with their curriculum and math and sciences and things like that. So I think it's a great thing, and we got great support from the board and the school and the students. They're just doing well.
Gateway Chess League's board of directors plans to share its love of chess with the community. It's planning on installing chess tables all around the St. Louis area. There's already a few outside the Afro World store. That's off Natural Bridge. Well, today was definitely a good autumn day to get outside for something like that. Meteorologist Gary Frank joining us now with the weather impact forecast. Hey, Gary.
Yeah, good evening, Robert. As temperatures continue to fall into the low 50s, it's cool outside. Our wind is lighter now with the east-northeast breeze at around 6 miles an hour. Dry air settling in place, and for the first time in a while, it is average in the afternoon as our high hit to 66 and 47. But I do think that we're going to continue to see things cool down pretty much overnight. In fact, tomorrow morning, it will be chilly. I would expect some frost in a few spots, low 40s in others. It is chilly, so expect the cool weather to settle in place. Now, despite that chilly start, you'll see temperatures work their way back into the mid to upper 60s, but a southeast breeze at 5 to 10 miles an hour is in place for us. For the most part, clear skies, temperatures around average. Like I said, it's not all that different from what we had today, except the wind is lighter and out of a different direction. So that's one key for us as we continue to see this high that works its way in, and it's going to bring the core of the warmer air for us on Tuesday. But what you'll notice here on the other end of the spectrum as that high settles in off to our southeast. Watch this low to the north, and that's going to bring in some cooler air as well. But as we're fighting that gradient, there's a pretty significant pressure gradient in between, and that's what causes the significant wind that we're going to see. And I want to prepare you for this Monday to some degree, but especially Tuesday and Wednesday. Those are the days that I'm going to highlight. Now, this is going to be a gradual warming period with 78 degrees as our high on Monday. The record is 85. We'll see that 85 degrees on Tuesday, but the record's 86. Very close. Wednesday, 84. The record is 90. That's our latest 90 we've ever seen this late in the season. However, as we warm up, you're going to see a significant wind. By Tuesday morning, wind gust up to 20 to 25 miles an hour, but watch things by Tuesday night. Gusts over 35, maybe even 40 miles an hour. I think Wednesday may be even windier in some cases. One of those days is more likely going to have some sort of wind advisory. So I do want to prepare you in terms of what you need to prepare for. Windy conditions all day long in some capacity. Wind gusts may exceed 40 miles an hour in some spots, so just give you a heads up to secure some of those loose items and prepare for some of the driving, keeping your hands tight on the wind, especially some of those east to west interstates. It'll be a little bit more difficult. Now, in terms of rainfall, I do think our better opportunity as we finally push that wind down and shift it from a different direction Wednesday into Thursday, we'll see a better opportunity for more widespread rain. I'm optimistic that we'll see at least a half an inch of rain in some cases, if not more. So for the next few days, temperatures go from 68 to 78 in a hurry as that wind picks up, and then temps in the mid 80s. As we get closer to Halloween, I am still optimistic that it is going to dry out in time for costumes, but you may have to see some of those layers as it returns to fall by next weekend.
All right, Gary, thanks. Corey's here now with what's coming up in sports.
I wish I was the bearer of better news, but it was a downer of a day for most of our local teams around the area. We'll try and put a happy face on this Sports Saturday after the break.
This 5 on Your Side Sports Report is sponsored by Telly Tire and Auto Centers, driving your way since 1942.
Mizzou fans came into this season dreaming about making the college football playoff. If the Tigers still wanted to make that a reality, a win today on the road at number 15 Alabama seemed almost necessary at this point. Easier said than done. As expected, Brady Cook gave it a go, bad ankle and all, in the intimidating venue of Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa. It wasn't the ankle for Cook today, but a hand injury that ended his day. Cook left in the first half for an x-ray and was ruled out the rest of the game. That meant it was Drew Pine time, and Pine's first throw of the game was picked off. Pine threw 3 interceptions in relief of Cook. Mizzou defense held on as long as they could. This touchdown by Jam Miller made it 13-0 Bama at the half. Crimson Tide kept on rolling after halftime. Jalen Milroe with some magic for another Tide touchdown. 20-0 at that point. Looked like Mizzou may crack the scoreboard late, but Bama snuffs that out on 4th down at the goal line to get the shutout. Alabama wins 34-0, and Missouri is left to pick up the pieces.
There's a lot of pride and a lot of fight in that locker room, and we're all disappointed with the result. We all came with a plan to win, and it wasn't our day today, and we're not going to get divided. We're not going to point fingers. We're going to go back, get healthy this week, and finish out this stretch.
Out on the West Coast, Illinois had the chance to make a statement as well. The number 20 Fighting Illini got a chance to take on number 1 Oregon, and we saw exactly why the Ducks are ranked as the best team in college football. There is a wild Autzen Stadium, and of course, there's the Duck on the motorcycle. It's not an Oregon game without the Duck on a motorcycle. Fast start for the Ducks. Dylan Gabriel to Justice Lowe, 14-0 Oregon. 21-3 in the second. Here comes Noah Whittington down the lane, and you better just move out of the way. He trucks his way in for 6 more, 35-3 Ducks at the half. Illini did eventually get in the end zone. Khalil Valentine scores to give the Illinois fans who made the long trip to Eugene something to cheer about. Not a happy final score, though. Oregon wins 38-9.
I think these guys enjoy playing together. It definitely hurt them today. You know, you can see it. At halftime, I could feel it, and I liked the energy they gave coming out of the second half. And then, you know, obviously a lot of long faces in there tonight, as they should be.
Jordan Cairo and the Blues continue their road trip in Montreal tonight against the Canadians. Already down 2-0, and here come the comeback Blues again. How about big Colton Parayko jamming away in the crease? 55 gets the Blues on the board. A few minutes later in the second, Jake Neighbors is red hot after that contract extension, and he gets his 4th goal of the year. We're tied at 2. Canadians jump back ahead, though. Alex Newhook scores on the power play, and the Habs would add a few more in the third. Montreal wins tonight, 5-2.
We weren't willing to work early and we weren't willing to be physical. And when you're doing that, then you're usually chasing the game and it's hard to get yourself into it.
Obviously, that's on us as players to come out ready to go from puck drop. You got to be ready at the start of the game, and that gives you a better opportunity to maybe grab a lead or keep it a tie game for a longer amount of time.
Player of the day came from St. Charles. Lindenwood trying to put the finishing touches on a win over Western Illinois, and Steve Hall put the team on his back. This was a 93-yard touchdown run to cap off a 49-38 victory for the Lions. The MICDS grad had 259 yards on the ground and 4 touchdowns today for Lindenwood. It's a good day at the office for him. Not so great a day for Mizzou and Illinois, though.
I know. A lot of us are talking about the Mizzou game. I'm telling you, we were pulling for the Tigers, though.
They got a bye week next week. Hopefully they can figure some things out.
All right. Hey, Gary's back with a final look at our weather.
I'm not optimistic, but I'm more optimistic about the weather.
I'm trying.
Yeah, it makes one of us, Corey. I'll tell you what, temps tomorrow in the upper 60s. Pretty nice and calm. Enjoy the calm weather because then we're going to get breezy Monday and then eventually into the mid-80s by Tuesday and Wednesday as windy conditions pick up. I am optimistic that it gets a little bit drier in time for trick-or-treating and some of those trunk-or-treat deals on Thursday.
We keep talking. We need that rain, huh?
We do need some rain. At least I have 2 icons of the forecast. That's something positive news in the right direction.
Thank you, Gary. Hey, before we go, I want to stand corrected. We want to correct that event we told you about, that Hispanic event. It's actually called the Day of the Dead, so our apologies for that. That's all of our time for 5 on Your Side at 10, everyone. Saturday Night Live is coming your way. Enjoy your night.